This bulletin, the United Kingdom has now reached the milestone of vaccinating 20 million people in the country. And according to recently released data, more than 20 million people across the UK have received their first COVID-19 vaccine shots. With this, the country has successfully rolled out Europe's fastest vaccination programme. Prime Minister Boris Johnson called the milestone a huge national achievement and said that every jab makes a difference in the battle against the pandemic. The latest government figures show that more than 20,089,000 people in the United Kingdom have now had a first dose, while more than 796,000 have had a second. The government is currently aiming to offer all adults a first jab by the end of July. Meanwhile, the UK Health Secretary Matt Hancock described the milestone as a magnificent achievement for the country and urged all the citizens to get the inoculation done as soon as they receive the vaccine call from authorities.
I'm absolutely delighted that over 20 million people have now been vaccinated across the UK. It's absolutely fantastic. Huge thanks to the team. But in particular, I want to thank every single person who's come forward to get the jab, because we know with increasing confidence that the jab protects you, it protects your community, and it also is the route out of this for all of us. So a great well done to the team. Thanks to everybody for coming forward. There's a long way still to go, but we're making big strides.
Despite the mass vaccine rollout, the COVID-19 crisis in the country seems to be far from over. In the latest edition, nearly 6 cases of the highly transmissible virus variant first identified in Brazil's Manaus have now been detected in Britain. 3 cases were found in England and another 3 in Scotland. 2 of the 3 cases found in England were from a household in the South Gloucestershire area that had a history of travel to Brazil. A third, currently unlinked case has yet to be identified. The P.1 variant detected in Manaus shares some mutation characteristics with the earlier variant that was first identified in South Africa, and it is possible that this variant might respond less effectively to the current available vaccines.
So this P1 variant is more transmissible than the original strains we saw from this virus. It is likely to have more antigenic change and therefore increase the risk of reinfections. And while we don't know the response to vaccine yet, we are concerned that we don't have spread of this that may impact on our vaccine programme.
For more on this story, we are now being joined by our London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark. Mandy, thanks so much for joining us. Now, it is indeed a big milestone for the UK, more than 20 million people vaccinated. Tell us more about the same and how this milestone has been achieved.
Well, this is the one bright spot when it comes to the pandemic in the UK is the successful rollout of the vaccine. A lot of people point to the centralised nature of the health system, the NHS, the ability to reach those They did it in tiers, the most important and the most vulnerable groups first. So their ability to reach them all over the country and have that centralized system that is already in place that allowed the rollout to happen. They also approved those vaccines very early on before the rest of the European Union. So that is the bright spot. And also the take-up, the amount of people who are willing to take up. There is a level of vaccine nervousness, but overall, in those big vulnerable categories, we're seeing 90% take-up of the vaccine when offered. So that is the bright spot and the hope of getting out of lockdown. Of course, the big concern, as you rightly addressed, is those variants that keep coming into the country. And that is where the rollout and the vaccine and the benefits might come undone, because some of the variants, and we don't know about the Brazilian one yet, might be less, the vaccine might be less effective with those variants. So we're seeing mass clampdowns on when they find a variant to make sure that those people remain isolated and see if they have any contact. But that is the big worry, that if more variants come in, the effectiveness of the vaccine will be put under threat.
Right. Now, Mandy, the UK, of course, has been under the strictest lockdown globally for weeks now. And does this new milestone inspire confidence in Prime Minister's recovery plan?
There is an overwhelming feeling of hope, especially after the planned roadmap that was released last Monday. There is renewed confidence that the UK's economy is on a path, a slow path, but on a path to recovery. So there is a level of optimism in the city and also in business that by June, if all goes to plan, that things should get better. There is confidence right now within the Prime Minister. Of course, it's all about handling the COVID problem. And it's already there, even though the number of infections are going down, those hospital admissions are going down, it's still incredibly high. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. And I think at times people can forget that because we see that light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, there is increased confidence in the Prime Minister because of the successful rollout and the roadmap, but it can all be undone if those variants do cause for a slowdown or a greater restrictions and lockdowns take place.
All right, Mandy, thank you so much for all your inputs and thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast.